Do you have any advice for those experiencing a similar struggle? So I know the symptoms as well vary individually greatly, but if you have any overarching things that you have found helpful just as a person struggling with Lyme.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up. It is overwhelming and heartbreaking and crushing. It's soul destroying. It's awful, and it's corrosive and exhausting and so debilitating, but don't give up. I would love to be a resource for people who are struggling with Lyme. I don't see myself as a complete success story, but I'm in a way better place than I was. But first and foremost, don't give up. Keep trying. You're worth it. Keep pushing through. Get help if you can. Find someone who will listen. Just because someone else doesn't listen to your struggle doesn't mean your struggle is not valid. And do your best with what you can do, because sometimes the only victory you have in a day is having a very small step made forwards. And that's it. That's all you did on that day. But that is progress. Even if the rest of the day sucks, that's still something good. There's a wonderful young lass with Lyme. She did a talk at a medical convention, or maybe it was another TED talk, I'm not sure, but she was talking about the spoons theory, which is when you have Lyme, you are given a limited number of spoons every day. And thoughts, actions, activities, they all cost spoons. So you get out of bed, that's one spoon gone. And you go have breakfast, that's another spoon gone. 2 if you make it yourself. You then brush your teeth, that's another spoon gone. You know you have to get to work or go and get groceries, and so you've got to walk to the bus stop and wait for the bus, and that's 2 spoons, because the psychological impact of sitting in public and questioning what people are thinking about you and why you look the way you do. Is someone going to need help that you can't give because you're sick, but people can't see it? It sucks. And so throughout the day, you're using up your spoons. And sometimes you get to a point in the day where you've used your allocation for the day. Like, I wish I could do more, but I literally can't. I don't have any spoons left. At that point, sometimes you can borrow spoons from tomorrow, but then that day means that you're going to have less spoons to do what you need to. Or alternatively, you can call it and just be like, I'm sorry, I have to stop. I have to go home. I have to rest. And not that anyone has an unlimited number of spoons, but we certainly have less. And it sucks, but acknowledging it can be quite beneficial, because you can choose to use your spoons on something you want to. And even though you're tired and you don't have anything left, you've made that choice to pursue something valuable, something important. And sometimes that can bring spoons back to you, sometimes it doesn't. But I guess the advice I would give, aside from what I have, sorry, this is a bit rambling, but the whole idea that everyone who has Lyme can have very different symptoms. And so I have full use of my legs. I don't have Bell's palsy. I don't have complete loss of vision. I'm not hypersensitive to electromagnetic frequencies. Like, there's a whole bunch of symptoms that I don't have. People, they get like a celiac kind of response. They can't eat certain foods, and like the whole body is freaking out as well as your mind. And so I don't know how to best say it, believe in yourself. Like, it's not all in your head, even though it may be psychological and mental, neurological, all these different words, but it is what you are feeling, which is not to be ignored. And there's someone who can help, even if it's just listening to you, even if they can't cure you. Like, there is help out there to be had. Personally, I'm almost glad I got Lyme in some ways, because when I was at school, I was pursuing effectively biochemistry, which I was then going to go and find a university and do that, because I didn't know what I was doing with my life, like so many teens. And so had I not gotten sick, I would be in a lab somewhere doing research, like not even realizing how miserable I am. But because I got Lyme, I had the opportunity to come to the States. I got to work at a fantastic YMCA. I started pursuing my artwork. I'm now I have my master's in jewelry and metalsmithing. I make stuff and I fix things and I love it. And I'm so much happier now than I would have imagined myself to be had I gone through the process I did. It's difficult as well because I don't know for sure about that. If you change one small element of your past life, there's no telling where you would end up today. We have a phrase in England which probably isn't appropriate for this, but it sums it up very well, that that small shift, seemingly not a massive change, can have huge, wide-reaching consequences in the present. But again, don't give up. It sucks. It absolutely sucks, but don't give up. And if this resource leads people to me and they need a talk or a listen or whatever, then I'm happy to do that. So.
Thank you. And I guess lastly, is there anything else that you would like to add or share that I didn't touch on?
It's difficult because while I don't define myself through my Lyme disease, I can see that I am the person today because of it in many ways, but not entirely necessarily. And so the way I think and see and process information now, I imagine is very different to how it would be had I not gotten sick. And my emotional intelligence is so much better because of that as well, because of getting sick and understanding things a little better. But it's difficult to know what's relevant to this kind of talk, and like specifically about Lyme and what's just me, because input and advice I may give may not be relevant to others, even though, like, if they're in a similar situation or not, it may be more specific to me than to them, if that makes sense. Sorry, that wasn't very clear.
No, it makes sense.
But I would say finish off to know that you're worth it and to not accept a half measure in your health, because health is so important. And it's so easy to believe that what you feel is just the way of it, and that's what you get, and there's nothing to be done. It's, to use metalworking terms, being sick with Lyme for so long is like going through the crucible and the forge. Like, I'm fundamentally different now than how I was, but I've been subjected to a metaphorically intense temperature and pressure and violence. And so it was not a fun transition to get here. But that also is life. So I don't want to preach or anything, but it's that, again, not giving up, trying to find the best that you can as you move forward, and trying to find what's central, what's important to your core, and pursuing that and building your life from it. I feel like I'm losing the thread of this a little, trying to sum things up, but the whole idea as well of not just accepting that someone knows your body better than you do, even if they're a doctor, and to not be dismissed, not have your struggles and your pain, your bizarre symptoms that don't make any sense and that you can't understand. If someone else doesn't understand them either, then go find someone else to ask, and don't just accept that something weird and dark and twisty just lives inside you, and that's that.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview with me. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
And we can also, if you want, we can have your email accessible if people would like to reach out to you.
Of course.
Offer as well.
I want to make myself available to people to have them reach out. I can't promise I have answers, but even just sharing your experiences and talking to someone else who's come through, not necessarily equivalent in terms of what you've experienced, but they have managed to overcome it and they understand more than a completely healthy person may. But yes, I'd be very happy for you to do that and to share that, because it's really isolating. It can be very difficult to get through without anyone there. So.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.